Build professional skills this semester with Adobe Creative Cloud and create standout work both in and out of the classroom. Save big on professional creativity tools. Students get 65% off Adobe Creative Cloud, including Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, Acrobat Pro, and 20 plus creative apps. No matter what project you're working on, Adobe Creative Cloud apps can help you take it to the next level. Visit adobe.com/student to learn more.
It's the Roger Stone Show on 77 WABC.
Welcome back, folks. This is the Roger Stone Show, and I am your host, Roger Stone, on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Joining me now is Mike Crispi. Mike Crispi is the host of Mike Crispi Unafraid, also a late-night show, Mike Crispi's Last Call. You can find both of those on Rumble. Mike is an outstanding conservative, was a candidate for Congress in the last elections, ran a very strong race. He's an outsider outside the New Jersey political establishment. You may remember him from Right Side Broadcasting, where he did a lot of very shrewd and erudite political analysis. He also covered live a number of President Donald Trump's rally. And today he is a leader in President Donald Trump's campaign in New Jersey. And he joins us now on the Roger Stone Show. Mike, welcome.
Roger, thank you for having me back. It is an honor, sir.
Mike, I know that you were very, very busy collecting the necessary legal signatures to get Donald Trump on the New Jersey primary ballot, even though Nikki Haley and Chris Christie and Ron DeSantis had dropped out of the race. There's still requirements to ensure that New Jersey elects its 9 or 10 delegates. The Republican National Convention, and you and the America First crew collected a record number of signatures. Tell me about how that went.
Yeah, Roger, well, I got to tell you, people who say that New Jersey is a blue state are absolutely lying. This state has shown that President Trump, very much a America First Republican, is turning this state red. I mean, we had rallies all over the state of New Jersey for the 45th and 47th president, 15 rallies up and down the state. And no matter where we went, we had crowds of anywhere from 150 to 400 people at our events. And we were doing the rallies because we wanted to mobilize and activate support for the president within local communities. I'm talking get mayors, council people, school board members actively engaged and feeling like they were a part of the Trump movement to take back this state. And you mentioned with the petition efforts, every candidate, whether you're running for school board or whether you're running for president of the United States, you have to get petitions in order to qualify for the ballot. It's just New Jersey state law. And we wanted to set out as a group to deliver President Trump a statement that we could get the record amount of signatures for a candidate seeking the presidency in this state. So I'm pleased to report that that's exactly what we did. And when we turned in our petitions down in Trenton at the state capitol, we more than tripled Joe Biden's number. We tripled Joe Biden's number. So the Biden campaign got probably a little less than 3,000 signatures on the last day, and we had closer to 9,000. So, our movement and our effort is very strong, and, people are saying, well, you got signatures, but guess what? All the latest polling now reflects that President Trump is very much within striking distance to win the Garden State, and we believe that, all the volunteers that we've activated along the way in this petition process, Roger, over 2,500 volunteers signed up to be part of our group now with Get Out the Vote, that's going to pay dividends and we're going to win the state and shock the world. But we're not going to be shocked because we knew that President Trump always had a hold on the great people in New Jersey.
Now, very recently, there was a federal court decision that knocked down the ability of the Democrat county committees to essentially offer this superior ballot position to the candidates that they endorse. It's called the line. It has traditionally been extraordinarily influential in Republican and Democrat primaries in New Jersey, because when you go into the voting booth, it says, for example, official Ocean County Republican County Committee endorsed candidate John Smith versus, challenger Joe Brown. The parties have really used the line to keep control, but now a federal judge has ruled that the lines violate the law, and he has vacated their use in the Democratic primary. Other Republicans have now gone to court to say, well, if that's true for one party, it must be true for two parties. This really, to my mind, it has very little to do with the Trump campaign. At this point, with Donald Trump as the only candidate for president still in the race, and with more than enough votes accumulated to lock up the nomination, the Republican Party establishment of New Jersey, which is largely country club oriented, well, they have no choice but to be for Donald Trump. Mike, what is this fight really about?
Well, first of all, the line, which has been around for a while, basically was struck down by the courts as unconstitutional. It was a way that the county bosses, and again, no America First Republicans like, deep state county bosses. These are people who have been loyal to Chris Christie. They still run the county committees in these respective counties across the state. And it was found in courts that the way that they did it was unconstitutional. It basically assured a bump for any local candidates that were attached to the line. And you know what they're doing with President Trump is that they basically, these county bosses want to get in swamp uniparty rhino members. They would then just stick that candidate on the line, try to put their name under President Trump's name to kind of fool the voters and make it feel like, that they were, running, as part of Trump's campaign. Now, President Trump is the most popular Republican in the history of the state. He doesn't need any county lines. He doesn't need anything. He's going to get 99% of the vote no matter where you put him on the ballot. But in an effort by Chris Christie loyalists, to essentially drag up candidates who have no business being in office, they're going to try to put their name positioned with this line to help those candidates. And they do that by using President Trump's name. So there are still county bosses in the state of New Jersey who are loyal to Chris Christie. We've been making an effort to expose those people. President Trump is going to win the state of New Jersey with an overwhelming and historic margin, no matter where he is on the ballot. And the Trump name is the superior name in this party. It is his party, and anybody else on the line are then trying to use his name. So it's a great thing for America First Republicans. It hands power back to the people, and it stops the party bosses in the future from picking candidates and positioning them in a way on the ballot that essentially the court found gave a 15% bump to those local candidates. So, they put all the other candidates on the side of the ballot, and they put all the preferred candidates, whether rhinos or whoever they are, in a nice, orderly fashion, all lined up on the left first column. And they've been getting away with that for years. It's the only state in the union that does ballot positioning like this. It was ruled down by the courts, and they like it because it keeps the power. The county bosses are then able to sell the line to the highest bidder. They're able to get politicians to do what they want, because then if they don't do what they want, they will then kick them off the county line. It's the only state in the union, Roger. Very, 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 very pathetic how these people have clung to the power, and now the power is going back to the people, and they will be able to elect true grassroots leaders because nobody will have to go pay their homage to a party boss who's going to make demands out of them. This is great for MAGA patriots all over the state of New Jersey, and we're going to get real grassroots leaders elected in from the state house, local level on up, who support President Trump and the agenda, no matter what these Chris Christie loyal Rhino Party scum are saying, kicking and screaming to their own demise.
Mike, I have seen reports that Senator Robert Menendez, under serious criminal indictment on numerous charges, he and his wife, who is evidently not well, I see that he is threatening to run as an independent. That would presumably, at least, if true, might make it possible, make it possible to elect a Republican U.S. Senator in New Jersey, which has not been the case since Clifford Case was elected in 1972. It's the last Republican to win statewide for a U.S. Senate seat. We saw this once before in 1970 when Senator Tom Dodd of Connecticut got jammed up in a corruption scandal, was dumped by the Connecticut Democratic Party, ran as an independent, therefore splitting the Democrat vote, allowed for the election of Senator Lowell P. Weicker Jr., a man who took more illegal campaign financing from Richard Nixon than any other candidate in the 1970 race, but then turned on Nixon in the Senate Watergate hearings. It's another long story. Do you think it is possible that Republicans could have a viable race for the U.S. Senate in New Jersey?
Well, I definitely think so. I mean, and obviously that is going to be attributed to President Trump. I mean, all of the polling data, and again, when it comes to polling data for Republican presidential candidates, it's very much out there now that in a three-way race, President Trump is within 5 points in the recent polling. Now, we all know that with the polls, they suppress the polls. So in reality, President Trump is probably even, if not up at this point. And I believe that in the state of New Jersey or any other state, any candidate who is running on the ballot under President Trump in these down ballot races are going to have a great and historic chance to get swept into office. So again, New Jersey is a state that is very much reeling from the illegal immigration crisis that's occurring. They're very much reeling from Joe Biden's horrific energy policies that are really robbing our country's wealth. And President Trump always says he gets back in office, those are the first two things he's going to do on day one. And that message resonates with any person in New Jersey, in the country. And that is why I believe, Roger, that if Menendez runs independent and he splits off a percentage of the vote, that no matter who the Senate candidate is for the Republican side, President Trump will very much sweep them into office like he has so many candidates over the last number of years across this country. And those people coming into office via President Trump, him getting back in office in 2025, January, that is how we're going to have a Trump majority, and that's the only thing that can save this country and the state of New Jersey especially.
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii in sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel or that white chocolate mocha. Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Hank's the family fixer, always with his tool belt. But living with prostate cancer, he needed help. He asked his doctor about Xtandi enzalutamide. Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache. Talk to your doctor and visit Xtandi.com.
So, Mike, I have to ask you this question. You ran an extraordinarily strong campaign for Congress in what turned out to be, in redistricting, the reddest district in the northeastern United States. It was a 26 plus Trump congressional district that comprised most of both Ocean and Monmouth County, almost all of which is here within our 77 WABC listening area. But you, I guess, have elected not to seek that seat again in this cycle. Are you ruling out ever running for the seat again?
Well, this cycle, obviously, it's all about President Trump. It's all about saving the republic, and the only man who could do that is 45th and 47th president. So I've, put all of my efforts to doing that, getting the word out, obviously being on the ground and activating, grassroots folks from all across the state, to get out the vote. We're going to ballot harvest. We're going to vote by mail. We're going to, be too big to rig, as the president likes to say. We're going to do that in New Jersey, and I look forward to doing that all over the state to help get a victory. But when it comes to the 4th District, I mean, people are always asking me, are you going to run again? You should run again. Now, again, when Chris Smith ran, he had the county line, and the judge ruled that that's a built-in, essentially 15 points off the top. So, you take that, you take the fact that we were an insurgent campaign, and nobody really knew about us at the time when I decided to run, with it being so close, with us getting, the second most primary votes in the New Jersey primary of any candidate anywhere in the state, the entire cycle. The only person who got more was Chris Smith, being outspent $2 million to $200,000. Again, we only ran for 4 months, didn't have time to, raise more money. I believe that when we decide to run for that seat in the future, it'll be a winner. It's a MAGA base. It's a base that wants their Second Amendment upheld. Obviously, the current representation votes against the Second Amendment. It's a district that wants the border secured. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Current representative is against that. It's a district that doesn't want endless foreign wars. It doesn't want us spending all of our money to Ukraine. The current representative is big on that. We want world peace. We want New Jersey to be prosperous economically. We want the country to have our stuff made in the USA. These are all things that are very basic America First values. And I think that we showed, Roger, in that election that, we have that message. We have the winning message. And I definitely, in the future, when the time is right, fully intend to stay in the mix, because I owe it to the great people who have done so much in Ocean and Monmouth County to support me. So, we'll be back in the future at the right time. And we're going to do it because it's what's needed to be done to save the country. And hopefully at that time, President Trump will be historically, back in office, turning things around, fixing the country. And I can do my part to support his agenda 110%. And that's exactly what District 4 needs.
Proof of the fact, Mike, that you claim, I think accurately, that New Jersey's actually going to be in play in this election was the announcement last week that the president is coming to Wildwood, New Jersey for one of his famous rallies. Tell us about that.
Yes, May 11th in Wildwood, New Jersey. That is South Jersey. That is one of the most southern points of the state, if you're not familiar. And listen, the way that the president is going to win New Jersey, it's a very simple formula. It's an exciting formula because we can all see it. The Democrats know it is coming. You dominate and run up the vote in South Jersey, which President Trump very well will do. The South Jersey demographic, that is his base. And then people from all over the state are going to come down there from North Jersey, from Central Jersey. And if we peel off just a percentage of those voters, 10%, 15%, who would have maybe went the other way, President Trump wins the state easily. So I think he picked a great location for the rally. There's going to be many people coming from all over the state of New Jersey, many local elected officials that we have met over the course of our rallies, and it's going to be a very big rally. I expect it to be even bigger than the last one we had in Wildwood when he was running in 2016, when he was the president in 2017, 2018. So it's going to be awesome, Roger, and I expect a giant crowd, and it's going to help him win the state.
The last president of the United States to be elected, then be defeated for re-election in a disputed election, in which some claim that election was stolen, but then to return again to a second term in the White House was Grover Cleveland. Grover Cleveland was kind of the last of the great conservative Democrats, but Grover Cleveland was actually born in Caldwell, New Jersey, and there's a museum there. His presidential museum is there. So, Mike, I would suggest that a great location for one of your future local campaign rallies would be the Caldwell, New Jersey birthplace of the last president to pull off what Donald Trump is about to pull off, and that is a return to the White House. The backdrop of politics is always very important, and all politics is local. What is the current view of New Jersey voters regarding Governor Phil Murphy, and is that going to play a role in this coming November election?
Well, I mean, the voters actually right now, it's amazing, especially the independent voters, became very angry with Phil Murphy when he tried to put his wife up to run for the United States Senate. The wife has no qualifications other than her advocacy for degenerate sexual curriculum in our New Jersey public schools. And even the Democrat primary voters rejected this and were appalled at the naked abuse of power, how Phil Murphy tried to, basically leverage people and strong-arm people, very much through this line process, Roger, to supporting his wife. So that has been rejected. Phil Murphy obviously has driven this state into the ground. He does nothing but wake up every day and think about how can he kill small businesses through taxes and regulations. And this is disgusting, but it's true, kill our wildlife off the shores. I mean, this guy is making shady deals with these, wind farm companies that he says is in the face of clean energy and it's good for the environment, but all it's doing is killing our wildlife and our whales. And it's just absolutely horrible the way that these people operate. So, people have become very enraged with Phil Murphy, and I believe that is going to play a factor because, this state, the most moved out of state in the union over here in New Jersey, most moved out of state, that the people who are left, they're saying, listen, they're robbing us of our culture. They're robbing us of a once great state that had a lot of pride. You're from Jersey. We got an edge. We have a certain brand and identity. And this guy, Phil Murphy, who comes from Massachusetts, isn't even one of us. This guy is attempting to make it look like something totally unrecognizable. So that's just going to boost the sentiment for President Trump. And, President Trump's message is the perfect counter to a guy like Phil Murphy, who is only worried about appealing to his elitist left-wing billionaire donors and not the working men and women. That's what Trump does. He brings in the working blue-collar union people in New Jersey who I believe are fed up with Phil Murphy, fed up with the state government in Trenton, and are going to come out in record numbers.
All right. If you're just tuning in, folks, we're still with Mike Crispi from the Trump campaign in New Jersey, and we'll be right back.
Okay, we're clear.
All right.